Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of The Average Uninformed. This week we are trying out another Love It, Hate It with Battlefield Earth, starring John Travolta and Barry Pepper. So grab a drink, sit back, and enjoy. Actually, before we start, just a heads up, guys. We ran some technical difficulties with one of the mics. Sorry about that. The audio is going to get a little wonky for a few minutes near the end, but hopefully that's it.
Something. I don't know what the V8 stands for because I'm not a car guy.
Me neither.
I know that my car is a silver car. I'm a rooster illusion.
Anyway.
That movie's so quotable. I love the part where Jay Baruchel's character is explaining why Blu-ray won over HD DVD. And then Robert Downey Jr. just turns around and is like, "You talking to me this whole time?"
Well, I was just talking to whoever was listening. I don't know why he sounds
Follow me and paste a tea bag.
What? Is that actually the line?
Something like that, yeah.
Oh.
Well, Victor, how you doing?
Pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah, this bubbly water is interesting.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm not usually a fan of carbonated water, but this is growing on me.
Neither am I, and I don't usually like flavored water because it just doesn't usually taste strong enough, like the flavor.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
that'd be a juice.
These ones are pretty good.
Not bad. Oh, how about you? What are you been?
I was on vacation this week for the first time in like 2 years. So that was
really
nice.
2 years?
Yeah, the last time I had vacation was actually, it was the start of it was the night we went and saw Doctor Strange.
Oh.
And then the next day I was on a plane and I went to Las Vegas.
Oh, right. Grand Canyon Man.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize it was 2 years ago.
Yeah. I went with my brother and his family to Great Wolf Lodge, which is like this hotel / water park type thing. So that was kind of fun.
Did you jump in? Or were you just there for the kids?
I was mostly there for the kids. I did do a few of the slides because my brother's kids are a little bit older, so they were doing some of the slides. So I did some of them.
Okay.
Yeah, I did one big one. I'm not a roller coaster guy, first off, but it's not that aspect of it that I don't like about water slides. It's the lying down and the seams ripping open your back as you go down.
I've never had that as an issue.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like the water creates a nice barrier. It kind of floats you high enough above the water.
Oh, okay. Maybe you just are more buoyant than I am. I tend to sink lower in the water, Victor. I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm bigger than you.
What?
So I hate that. I hate getting my back cut up. So I'm like, I don't want to.
It's understandable.
Bother. Because every time you're like, well, maybe not this time, and then
you're screaming
like
not
12
joy
in a row, and then you finally splash in the water. You're like, and the lifeguard's like, "Was that fun?" You're like, "Leave me alone. I'm sorry, I got blood in the pool."
Someone opened cranberry juice on the slide. Wait, is that what you did for your birthday?
Yes, it was my birthday this week, Victor.
You took kids out where they wanted to go for your birthday?
Yeah, that's what happens when you get old enough, Victor. And it's all about the kids, and you are no longer important.
That's not how it works.
There was a small moment where they sang happy birthday to me and I blew out candles and then they all ate the cake.
Huh.
Or birthday pie, whatever. I had a slice of pie as well.
Oh, okay.
But, it was just kind of like, blow out the candles so we can eat the cake. But I don't really like making a big deal about my birthday. I've never really cared.
Yeah, you don't. It's kind of lame.
Sorry.
I'm kidding.
I mean, if you want to throw me a party, go nuts, but I will be a pooper the entire time.
Where'd Josh go? Look, he's in his room crying.
Why, God, why? Another year, Lord. Why am I so old?
You're not that old.
No, I'm not. But yeah, and actually this year, because it was a milestone this year. It was turned 30.
Tell me about it.
Yeah. I was expecting like a big like existential moment of just like, oh man, I'm getting old. It was just kind of like, yeah, another birthday, whatever.
Well, you're getting old.
Been on this planet for 3 decades, Victor. 3 decades and change.
Is it weird to think about? Like
It wasn't weird until I was talking to my brother about Hugh Jackman this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking about ages of actors and stuff like that. And when he did X-Men, he was 30 years old. That made me feel old for some reason. I was just like, man, he was starring in a franchise at 30. And I'm doing a podcast that no one listens to.
Samesies.
Well, should we get into some news or something?
Nope, I'm done. Podcast over.
Okay. Victor, apparently Disney's unimpressed with New Mutants.
Me too.
I don't know what's going on with that.
Me neither.
But that's news. I mean, it's not really news. I think we were all like, I mean, if they haven't released it by now, it must not be great. So who's to say what's going to happen with that?
It's going to slowly
means.
tuck it under the rug.
Yeah. Moving on. Victor, did you know that there's a G.I. Joe spinoff about Snake Eyes coming out?
Oh, did they announce any casts?
They did. They found their lead in Henry Golding. He was the lead in Crazy Rich Asians.
Oh, I'm down for that.
Did you end up watching that?
I didn't.
Oh.
But I've heard nothing but praise for that actor.
Oh, yeah. He was pretty good in that movie, and that's the end of that thought.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's between him and I can't remember who else it was, but they're saying like, oh, like these actors are like you may not have seen them in a lot of stuff, but like these guys are awesome. I can't remember what podcast I was listening to, but they were praising them for like a good 5 minutes.
5 minutes?
Well, him and this other person, I can't remember who.
Wow.
Can you tell I cared enough to like remember the names?
Henry Golding. All right. Yeah. That's cool. I don't really know anything about G.I. Joe. I think Snake Eyes is the end of my knowledge of G.I. Joe.
Yeah. I think he's the only character I know as well. Him and, yep. I can't remember. I'm trying to think what Cobra Commander. There you go.
Okay. Yeah. I know some villains.
Who's the white Snake Eyes? White ninja.
Storm something?
Sounds right.
Storm Shadow?
That is a terrible name, but it sounds correct.
I know the guy with the metal head is Destro, and the chick is Baroness.
Oh my goodness, you're right. It's Storm Shadow.
For the win. Now ask me what my kid's name is.
I swear I got it this time.
Yeah, I don't really know much about it. If memory serves, I don't hate the G.I. Joe movies, but they're not great either.
No, I remember the second one being very fun, but I remember thinking, this isn't a good movie.
Okay, because I just kind of remember them being like kind of mediocre, but like not terrible.
I remember the first one wasn't great. The second one, I'd say it's similar to like the new Ninja Turtle movies.
Yeah, when those movies came out, that was when everyone hated Channing Tatum, right? That was before.
People hate Channing Tatum?
They used to hate him. And then all of a sudden, I can't remember, maybe it was 21 Jump Street. That changed the public opinion on him.
How could anyone hate him? The guy's hilarious.
I mean, I think I probably hated him too. I'm a follower.
Oh, okay.
This is rumor, but Marvel is casting an Asian actor who is a ruler of an ancient and distant kingdom. A lot of people are saying Namor.
Submariner?
Submariner, yes. Yeah, we're saying the same thing.
Okay. I was like, shit. That makes sense. It fits.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else. I mean, it could be for Eternals or something like that.
The Mandarin.
Yeah, something Shang-Chi related, but a lot of people are like, it's Namor.
Why is he Asian? I guess he's kind of Asian looking.
Well, yeah, a lot of artists depict him as Asian.
Artisan, I believe is the plural.
Yeah. So, cool.
Yeah. They say when?
No, it's all just rumor that it's happening. But anyway. Shall we move on?
Yeah, sure.
Victor, the live action Aladdin movie has crossed $1 billion. So now Disney is considering making a sequel.
Why?
No, you didn't see this, right?
No, I didn't see it, but I heard it wasn't that great.
It was fine. The singing wasn't that great.
Oh, interesting. So wait, are they going to do the live action sequel of the animated sequel?
Or they adapt Return of Jafar?
Yeah.
Actually, they did go out of their way to say probably not.
Ooh.
So they would do their own thing, which It's fine, I guess, but the way they ended it, the genie went off and had a happy ending. So spoilers, by the way. Sorry.
I mean, that kind of not really a
I
spoiler.
mean, that's what happened in the first one, sort of. But like in their live action one, he actually gets married and has kids, and he's narrating the story to his kids. Sorry to ruin the bookends of that movie, but you know,
I don't know. I'd be more interested if it wasn't like a live action adaptation of Return of Jafar. Not that I've seen that one either, but
yeah, I don't know what you would do with the sequel because I'm just trying. It was the beginning of the summer I saw it, so I'm trying to remember what I liked about it. The best part of it was Jasmine and kind of Will Smith. So I mean, if he's not the genie, what are you going to do with him? And yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you do. Sure,
you have Aladdin without genie.
Yeah, maybe he finds another genie and they get Kevin Hart to play him.
You know, I would go see that.
All right, I forgot you like Kevin Hart.
He's just a good laugh.
That's
so
fair.
For like playing genie, be like, yeah, it's different. It's really weird.
Well, in the original story of Aladdin, if I'm remembering correctly, he actually had two genies. There was the genie of the lamp, and he had a genie in his ring that he found.
That is a lot of genies.
Some would say too many genies. I don't know if I want to see more of those characters.
I feel like they're doing these live action reboots. They should just do one-offs.
They're going to run out eventually, right?
Oh, yeah.
Then they'll do cartoon adaptations of the live action adaptations.
Also, it's a game of telephone after that.
Yeah. It just keeps getting diluted down and further. Every generation, they just go back and redo it. Is there a live action a cartoon Disney movie that you would like to see made into live action?
Atlantis?
That's a good pull.
Mm-hmm. I remember really loving that movie as a kid. I think I would like to see that one.
Yeah. I would go for Treasure Planet.
Haven't seen that, actually.
Okay.
Oh, wait.
It's Treasure Island, but this weird kind of technological future.
I'm remembering it. I've definitely seen it, but I don't remember any of it.
Yeah, I dug that, but maybe you can only do that with animation, but because it's you're just Treasure Island, but with a different. Who am I kidding? They would do the exact same thing, right? Like it's just because it's Treasure Island with a new spin on it. They're just like, no, we're gonna do the exact same spin on it that we did before.
Yeah, worked out pretty well so far.
Yeah, even though like Aladdin was fine and The Lion King sucked, they both made $1 billion.
Lion King made $1 billion?
Yeah.
Good.
I think
Good for them.
It's getting pretty close.
Jeez. Disney is just killing it.
Yeah. I think I read earlier this week that they've made $8 billion already this year. Maybe it's 5. Either way, it's at least 5.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Weren't they like disappointed with something? Disney? Like disappointed with the what was it? Was it X-Men?
Yeah, I just said that like 20 minutes ago.
No, you were saying the New Mutants. I'm talking about Dark Phoenix.
Oh, okay. I was like, Victor. I thought I read something 15 minutes ago. I just said that.
I was trying to think if it was like
Dark Phoenix. Yeah, that bombed.
Yeah. And they were saying like, or like the article was like, they're blaming Dark Phoenix for their like quarterly loss. And I was like, how? Didn't that come out almost the same quarter as like Endgame?
Oh yeah, the quarterly loss. Yeah, it bombed, and I think I read this week it ended its theatrical run and is the worst performing X-Men movie.
That makes sense.
And I think that's without inflation. So like even movies from the early 2000s have beat it.
Yikes.
Yeah. But that one was okay. It was bad, but it wasn't as bad as everyone said it was.
Oh, they released a concept art for Skrulls in that movie.
Oh yeah.
Did you see those?
No, I didn't.
They looked nothing like Skrulls. Their bodies were like, it looked like vines.
Oh, like kind of like sinewy muscles?
Yeah. Not like muscly, but vines.
Oh.
Yeah. Looked nothing like a Skrull. Like that's the kind of thing like I don't understand. Like you have a very large source library to like pull from. I feel like people are just changing designs just to say like, oh, these are our Skrulls. They're the same, but they look completely different.
Well, yeah. And it's like the same thing with Magneto's henchmen in it. It's like you have literally hundreds of X-Men characters that you could use. Instead, you make up an original character where a guy whips his hair around.
Wait. Oh, was that?
Yeah, you remember that. All right, you didn't see it. I just told you about the movie. By the way, check out our Dark Phoenix episode where Victor was sick, so I went to Dark Phoenix by myself.
Yeah, I was sick. Totally sick, so I didn't have to go see it.
Sick of seeing X-Men movies. Also, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Nice.
You're supposed to do it in the middle of the video. Apparently, that helps people to remember. I don't know. I mean, that's somewhere.
I guess I think about a lot of YouTubers I watch do say that.
In the middle, right?
Near the beginning, actually. And I'd skip over it.
Yeah. Oh, is this an ad? Victor, I want to tell you something about something. I'm going to start the sentence over. Okay. Victor, I want to tell you something very important, and I want your honest opinion on it.
Okay.
How do you feel about vaginal steaming?
What? Wait, say that again?
Vaginal steaming.
Okay, if I were to guess at what that was.
Yeah, tell me what you think it is first.
If I went the literal route, would that be, how correct would I be?
Okay, describe the literal route.
If I had a vagina, I would take a steamer and steam it.
No, not like a car steamer.
Oh, yeah, those like clothes steamers?
No, it's not. It's not like that. This is I don't know how new it is, but it's a new phenomenon to me. I saw an article about it this week that was like vaginal steaming, not as effective as people think it is.
Wait.
And I was like, whoa, you got me. Clicking on this article. What is this?
What's the end goal? Like, what is the...
So it's supposed to be like a cleansing thing. And
this is kind of like steaming like your face pores and opening them up? Sort
of, yeah. And so you put spices or herbs or whatever in it, your essential oils, and you steam your vagina, your yoni, if you will. So anyway, I just wanted to share with you that I know that vaginal steaming is now a thing. I now know that. I was blissfully unaware before earlier this week. And I love too that the article was stop doing it. It doesn't do anything.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Apparently they offer it at spas and stuff, but they said some women try it at home and they can severely burn themselves without knowing.
Because it's so sensitive down there.
Well, it's also you're squatting over steam.
No, but like if they like damage it without knowing it, I feel like you would know if steam's hurting you.
I guess so.
But it's like, they're just doing some weird stuff to it.
Well, I guess also you can't really see what's going on down there, right? Because like if you are steaming your face, let's say, you look in the mirror and be like, oh, I'm kind of burning. Like,
wait, people wouldn't squat over a mirror when they do this?
Yeah, it's a mirror and then you put the pot on top of the mirror.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
That's I feel like that's up there with like people stretching their penises with weights. You hear that? Yeah, there's weights you can get.
You know what? That doesn't surprise me. Like,
you clip them on the end of your penis, and you just hang out for an hour.
Wait, okay, dare I ask? Describe clipping it onto your penis. Is it like a clamp that kind of goes around it? Is it like like a clip-on earring?
Oh no, you have to have foreskin. If you're circumcised, you're out of the game.
Okay.
No, I have no idea.
Jeez. Oh, I imagined it.
You wish you didn't know.
I imagined it. The vaginal steaming was so less worse.
Speaking of scary stuff, I watched Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Tell me about it, Victor.
It's you remember Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yeah.
Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. That used to be something similar to that, right?
I think it was like Goosebump books, but a little bit more serious.
Oh, okay. So I've never read those books or seen the show.
Neither have I.
But Are You Afraid of the Dark and Goosebump, that's exactly what it reminded me. It reminded me of like an episode of those, but like maybe they crammed like 3 stories or 3 episodes into one movie.
They're like little shorts then?
No, there is like an overarching story, but then like it feels like they sprinkle in like these other creatures in there, and like, but they're like that in the trailer. Try not to spoil it, but like in that trailer, there's like the scene where like the girl has the spider coming out of her face.
Right.
Like that would be considered a story like of that happening, but it's only maybe like 15, 20 minutes. And there's like 3 other stories or 4 other stories. I can't remember how many, but like kind of having those sprinkled throughout.
So is it like they're all connected. There's all these kids sitting around and being like, so this weird thing happened to me. And then they flash to that.
No, it's just like it's happening to these kids.
Okay. Is it scary?
No. Actually, there's one creature that I don't know if they show it in the trailer, but like this creature does not look terrifying at all. I mean, if you saw that walking towards you, like, oh wow, that's creepy looking.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't be able to take it seriously.
Okay.
Like as a threat, I could. It just moves so slow.
That is fair, because like there's some things in horror movies where it's just like these grotesque creatures come around. I feel like we have been so trained in society to be so accepting of everybody that we would just see that in real life and be like, oh, don't stare. Like they were born that way, but God loves them too.
If only you put on some clothes. But no, you know what? Like that, I think give my like quick review on it. It's a pretty good movie. I would watch it again for sure.
Okay.
It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad.
What made it not great?
It just didn't surprise me in any way.
Oh,
like
okay.
it was very predictable.
Okay. Was there jump scares or no?
Maybe like 2.
Okay. That's
like it's
good.
not focused on like jump scares. It was more about the environment and kind of like the creep factor more than anything.
Okay, so let me just get this straight, because it's on the Goosebumps level. So what are the stakes for, without giving anything away? Like, say the girl gets the spider coming out of her face, like in the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Is that spider going to kill her? Or is it like, oh no, you had a spider in your face?
It kind of varies, like the spider in your face kind of thing. Like I don't want to ruin it, but like some people come out like scarred, and some people don't come out of it at all.
Oh, okay.
So there are stakes.
Okay. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think my only complaint is that like the spider story is probably the worst of the bits in that movie.
It seemed like the worst bit in the trailer.
Yeah. And
I'm just sorry, I'm full of yawns tonight.
But no, it's a good movie. It's just kind of predictable. I don't know if it's because like I'm used to that kind of thing. Used to those kind of like
But you
stories.
don't really watch horror though.
No, but like it still has it has a familiar structure.
Okay.
If you like if you watch enough movies or like enough of those like thrillers, you kind of like, oh yeah, this is probably what's going to happen.
One last bit of news, Victor, before we move on.
Mm-hmm.
There's an Obi-Wan Kenobi show in the works for Disney Plus. Television show, just like The Mandalorian.
Okay.
Mm.
Are they bringing back what's his face?
Yes, Ewan McGregor has signed on.
I was 100% expecting a no.
How do you feel about that?
I have no idea, because like this is a new platform for them. And like this is kind of a new thing where they're taking like big IPs and turning them into TV shows. I don't know. Like I'd have to see the quality. Like they're not going to TV, so it's like they're obviously going to have a bit more production value on to add it to them.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if they're going to go the route where it's like, oh, it has to be super family friendly and not too super serious, and you can't touch on these certain mature topics.
Mm-hmm.
If it's closer to like, yeah, again, like the Netflix Marvel series, then I'd be okay with that.
I would say I'm not a Star Wars guy. Never have been. I don't hate them. I just enjoy them, and that's the end of it. I will say, though, Obi-Wan Kenobi is one of my favorite characters in Star Wars, and it's probably the only character they could do as like a spinoff that I'd be like, oh, I might check that out.
Yeah, that's fair.
So don't color me excited about it, but like I'm definitely interested.
Mm-hmm. You thinking they'll do like in between episodes like 3 and 4, like what he was doing while Luke was growing up, or do you think?
Yeah,
it'll be like,
I think that's. Sorry. Yes, I think that's probably the best timing that you could do, right? I think.
Yeah, because I guess otherwise they'd be doing like after Clone Wars, but then
or before it, like when Anakin is a whiny teenager and his apprentice.
Yeah, and I guess at that point it wouldn't be called Obi-Wan, it'd be called Star Wars.
Yeah,
something, because it's not just Obi-Wan. But yeah, okay, I'd be excited about that.
Yeah, and like he's the only character that I would be interested in seeing some of like the mystery explained.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like Han Solo, that movie, like I was just like, I don't care about Han Solo's past. I feel like the most interesting time in his life was the time that we saw in the Star Wars movies.
Mm-hmm. And I think he's one of those characters that like, I think the less you know of his background, the better. Cause like, you know enough from what those 4 or those 3 movies gave you.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think you need much else.
And I don't need to know how he got his blaster, and I don't need to know how he got his vest and how he met Chewie, and like, yeah, you get it all from context. And And it's never like, especially for a character like that, who's pretty much everyone's favorite character, like nothing you do is going to top what people have been imagining for years, right?
Yeah. Like
But
there's no version of this character you're going to make that's going to be better than the one you've already shown.
Mm-hmm. But with Obi-Wan Kenobi, like he's so mysterious that I think you could do that.
Yeah, because there's like almost 2 decades worth of stories that you could have told in between those 2 movies. I mean, you know what? At least they chose like Obi-Wan and not some obscure character like, I don't know, Alfred. Like imagine doing a show purely on Alfred.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Well, speaking of bad ideas, Victor, should we get into the topic of the week?
I really wish we didn't have to, but yeah,
Let's do it.
So this week we are doing another Love It, Hate It.
Battlefield Earth.
Yep.
Should we just do it?
Yeah.
Victor, flip the coin.
All right. Heads or tails?
How do we do it? Let's just say heads, I love it. Tails, you love it.
Okay. I knew this was going to happen.
Do I get to hate it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you don't know how this works, this movie is ruining me. I can't even think straight. One person has to love this movie, defend it, and praise it, while the other person gets to crap on it, no matter their opinions on the movie. So Josh, why don't you give us a breakdown of what this movie's about?
Well, Victor, I hated this movie.
Really? How could you hate
It's
it?
the year 3000, Victor.
Listen, that's a good year. And
just let me get through this. It's the year 3000. I haven't got to the bad part yet. It's the year 3000, and the alien race, the Cyclos, have taken over the Earth at some point in time. I'm assuming in the early 2000s, maybe just after or just before. And they are now in charge of the planet. They are there mining gold.
Yeah,
I believe.
Because that's a valuable resource.
The human race has devolved into a primitive race
called manimals. Man-animals.
Man-animals. They said that a lot. I guess that's the setting. There's our main character played by Barry Pepper.
Wait, really? That's his name?
Barry Pepper. Yeah.
That's awesome.
His name was...
That's 2 fruits.
Johnny Boy? Was it?
I think it was just Johnny.
All right. Well, anyway, you don't learn his name for like the first 45 minutes of the movie. He doesn't live with the Cyclos. He's out in the outskirts. He hunts for his tribe. And one day he ventures a little bit further out and he gets captured by the Cyclos and he kind of gets put into slavery and he starts a revolution.
Mm-hmm. And the movie basically follows that revolution. At one point, the Cyclos have their own language and the man-animals have their own language. But to us, the viewers, they're speaking English when we need to understand them.
Yeah, they do this thing when they first introduce the Cyclos. They do like the slow transition. Like they start off, they're like, and then it slowly translates into English. So that you're like, oh, okay, we get to understand them too.
Yeah.
Victor, how did you feel about this movie?
Oh, I loved it. The setting, the acting, the fact that John Travolta's in this. Oh man, what a treat. I can't think of another movie where John Travolta was this good.
Really? Because I can name 10.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. And the fact that this movie was written by a Scientologist.
Not a Scientologist, the Scientologist. This is based off a book by L. Ron Hubbard.
Really?
The guy who created Scientology. Well,
how could you possibly hate on this movie? The fact that it's written by one of the most important people of our time. You know, that religion, you have to pay to be in it?
Yes, you do, yeah.
And it's quite a bit. And last I heard, you get what you pay for.
You get to be enlightened, and one day you get to meet Xenu. So not everybody gets to do that.
But like this movie, I don't know. It's got some really good settings. You know, you got trees, you got the jungles, you got this weird little dome that the Cyclos have created.
Yeah, because they don't breathe the same atmosphere. Mm-hmm. That's very important.
They have these little weird nose pieces that they give you so that you can breathe.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's just great because it reminds me of like Blade Runner if it wasn't rainy, sandy.
And it sucked.
And it's...
and was better? Is that what you're going to say? This movie was shot terribly, Victor.
You didn't like the
Dutch angles?
the pan.
The pan wipes?
The pan wipes
Between transitions? Okay, we'll talk about transitions. This movie, there would be times like more than once, there were scenes that just ended and it felt like they were in the middle of their conversation. There's one point in it where John Travolta's character, the head of security for the Cyclos, his name was Turl, I believe.
Sure, let's go with that.
Terrible.
I was too invested in the movie to really care about their names. You know, such a small detail.
Yeah, there's one point where he bumps his head. He bumps his head off the ceiling, and he's like, "I thought I told you that I wanted some man animals to come in and lower or higher the ceiling." And then the guy he just is talking to just kind of like smiles, like he's about to say something, and then they just cut to another scene. And you're like, I guess that conversation was over. We saw all the important bits of that scene.
Well, yeah, you know, there's a lot happening in this movie. In order to fit everything in, you kind of have to. The director just figured out, you know, just cut scenes short.
I guess you'd have to. Apparently, this is only half the book that it's based off of.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Why didn't they do a sequel? Because
it was so great. Was it, Victor?
Yep. I would have 100% want to see the rest of that
story. You want to see it come to a conclusion.
You know what I really liked about this movie?
Tell me, Victor.
The costumes, the outfits that the Cyclos wore.
Okay.
It reminded me of like...
Describe them for the people who don't know.
So they are about 7 feet tall. This
is all done practically, by the way. This was made in 2000.
Yeah.
So the CGI was kind of, it was okay. It was getting okay, but it was scarce.
Think The Matrix, but worse.
No, The Matrix looks so much better than this. But anyway,
these guys reminded me of, so John Travolta's character and most of the Cyclos, 7 feet tall, black leather, dreads, big hairy eyebrows, just a lot of hair.
They have eyebrows that like go up kind of like a Vulcan, but then they just kind of continue and then just kind of blend into their dreads.
Yeah. And some of them, they kind of, after they go up, they kind of drop down almost like a blending in with their like beard.
Like a Fu Manchu almost, but eyebrows.
Eye Manchu.
Now, I've never read the book, but I wonder, is that what they're described as looking like in the book? Or is that like,
yes,
that's the director being like, you know what? Yeah,
they were thinking about predators from the movie Predator, but kind of like bondagey, kind of.
You know what? You said The Matrix earlier. You're totally right, though. This was at the time of like that rave club scene where everyone was kind of into S&M, you know, like everyone's got the dreads and like they got glow sticks and they're like,
oh, you know the twins from The Matrix?
Yeah. That's what they look like. You're right. But 7 feet tall and clearly on stilts.
No, they're just like huge platform shoes.
I love how I don't love this at all. I love it ironically that they actually hobble around, but it's because they're on stilts.
I'm pretty sure there were scenes because there's scenes where the Cyclos are kind of chasing after the man animals.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they took them off those platform shoes when they did it.
You think so?
Oh, either that or they got really good at running with like a foot attached to their feet.
You know what? Like if you have the certain kind of stilts that are like your feet are strapped into them, you do get good at it.
Oh man, imagine falling.
Yeah.
Girls break their ankles for like walking wrong when they're like,
well, you have all those dreads to land on, so it's okay.
That's true.
Okay. We're going to get into the plot of this, but first I want to talk about how ugly this movie is, because it is. Everything is shot on a Dutch angle. If you don't know what a Dutch angle is, that's when they tilt the camera like not quite 45 degrees. And usually you would use that to make someone uncomfortable in a scene. Like it's a camera trick that you can do so that like you feel the uncomfortableness of the scene while the character is feeling uncomfortable.
Gotcha.
Like, cause they do that well sometimes in the movie, but every shot is that.
Well, yeah.
It's ugly.
The point of this movie, Josh, is to convey how uncomfortable it is in that world. And I think the director did a great job of it.
Let's talk about the filters too that they put over everything. They filmed everything at the same lighting and then just in post, just darkened things or lighten things or saturated things.
Wait, really?
You didn't notice that?
I
Like
got
everything
distracted by how good the movie was.
They used a lot of slow-mo in this movie.
Yeah. And you know, that just goes to show too that like the
I don't even
director.
want you to finish your stupid thought. Oh man, yeah, the slow mo sucked, Victor. There's a lot of stuff that happens in here that doesn't need to be in slow mo, and then there's scenes because of the slow mo, it ruins the action beat. There's a part in it where Johnny gets shot in the back while he's in a mall, and so he gets thrown through like 4 panes of glass. Because it's in slow mo. You can just see that he's just like just running through it instead of being like forced through it by the blast. Freaking stupid.
It's a very dramatic moment. The
okay, that's the look of the movie. Also, they do this weird thing to more than once because they can't use the Dutch angle to show that they're uncomfortable. So when something happens where the character's supposed to feel uncomfortable, like someone will say a line, they'll just repeat the line and kind of echoing it. It's like it's ringing in their ears, you know, like when Turl finds out that he doesn't get his dream job that he's worked for so long.
Yeah.
And the guy's telling him with endless opportunities for reinstatement.
Yeah.
And then it just goes like, with endless opportunities, with endless opportunities. He just repeats. You're like, what?
Exactly. So he repeated that. So like, because you're in such shock that he'd be stuck in that position, that he repeat the line.
Oh.
Yeah. What do you think about John Travolta's performance?
It was a little over the top, Victor. And by a little, I mean pretty standard John Travolta. There's that line he says, it's kind of famous on the internet, where it's like, when you were learning to spell your name, I was being trained to conquer galaxies. Granted, he was drunk in that scene, but he was hammy drunk.
But didn't his laugh really sell you on the character? They're weird, like,
that's a John Travolta laugh. But,
oh, is it?
I think so. I could be wrong.
Because I think that really conveyed that, like, hey, man, these guys are the villains, so that you're never confused.
Maniacal laugh. Turl is an idiot. The whole movie is predicated on him making terrible decisions.
He was a greedy guy, you know. He just wanted more gold to himself, and the best way to do it was to teach someone that hated him to do it.
Yeah, just give him all these advancements and opportunities so he could easily stab you in the back. I believe the phrase is hoisted by his own petard.
Yes.
So everything ends up screwing up for him, and it's all because he's an idiot. And he's too arrogant. He is so arrogant, he makes dumb decisions. The thought does not cross his mind that a man animal could be smart enough to double cross him.
Yeah. And he, at one point so Johnny escapes, he attempts escape twice.
Yes.
And he sees him and he's like, oh, you know what? Maybe this one can be trained to do the work for me. So he puts him in front of this machine that basically shoots information into his brain. So Johnny learns all the information about the history of cyclos and like how their machines work, how things,
he learns
mathematics,
to speak cyclo.
Yeah, the language. They were bragging about mathematics at one point. And I think that's just a great way to like write yourself out of a situation like that.
I just love the thought process of like, this one's escaped twice. Maybe we should make him smarter. Then that won't happen anymore. Because we could sit him down and explain why he shouldn't escape.
Well, I mean, they did have a backup plan, you know. They were smart. They wrote him smart to think about this. They kidnapped his girlfriend, who came from the tribe to find him.
That's a good plan to keep him in line. But I'm still okay. Maybe you can explain this to me, like legitimately without sarcasm. How did he find her? Because he said something. There was like he held up a drawing and be like, "You guys are quite good at drawing," and like that's how I found her. Well,
you know, she has a very distinct look. You know, she has hair, eyes, a mouth, and so did the drawing. And she was out in the wild just looking for Johnny. And I'm sure when they brought her in, he was like, "Oh, that looks just like this drawing. That must be his girlfriend."
Okay, so what you're saying, as I'm
saying that
pushing your sarcasm aside. So what you're saying is it was all just a coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, oh, she has a drawing. Hey, that kind of looks like Johnny. I bet you he's Johnny's girl.
Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly,
cool.
Honestly, I couldn't remember if it was a drawing of Johnny or a drawing of what's her face.
Yeah, I don't know. They both had long hair.
Yeah.
And that.
Yeah, when I saw the picture, I was like, who is that?
That nice feminine face. Johnny. Speaking of their feminine faces, they're primitive, right?
Yes.
Okay. How come they all have long hair? Clean shaven.
Yeah.
They all look like Atreyu from the Never-Ending Story. Like they have the clean animal skins, like the nice clean leather, but they're literally living in caves and are afraid of amusement park animals. They call it demons.
But I mean, Conan didn't have a beard.
Yeah, but he shaved.
Did he though?
Yeah, because
Nah.
You watch that first movie again, he's got some stubble at some point. And at the end of the movie, when they're doing the epilogue, he grows a beard. When he's King Conan, he's sitting on the throne.
It's the year 3000, Josh. Humans have outgrown hair.
Okay. My big question though, Victor, is are they primitive or not? Because there's all that aspect of it, but then they're also like, they talk. Sometimes they're very eloquent, and other times, like, there's that one guy who keeps repeating "piece of cake." Like
piece of cake.
Yeah. Like they show that they're able to learn quite well, but they just have this very limited understanding of the world around them at the same time.
I'd like to think that like they're translating for us, the viewers.
Oh, okay.
So like
the way it's
they
written,
may not be speaking perfect English, or they may not be speaking the language perfectly in like a very fluent manner, but like they're saying it in English in a fluent manner so that we would understand, if that makes any sense. Because they do kind of show, I guess they do kind of show like intelligence. Because at one point in the final battle of this movie, very epic, by the way.
Where they reuse shots, by the way.
Really?
Sorry, go ahead.
They did. Oh yeah, they did for sure.
There was some action shots where it was extras running away, and they used the one shot where there was cyclos chasing them, and then they reused it again when the dome collapses, and they just took out the cyclo chip, and it was like they added the explosions, but it was the same extras running. And the reason why I clocked it was because the one guy in the front tripped and fell funny, and I remembered it, and I was like, "Hey, that's the same shot." But anyway, sorry, I stepped on your point.
The final battle. Should we talk about the final battle?
Have we, or should we?
Should we?
Yeah. This movie's been out for almost 20 years, and it sucks. So who cares?
What? No, it didn't. So Johnny, after getting all that information fed to him by that machine, figures out a plan to destroy the dome that the cyclos are living in, blow it up, and kill them all. And
it's actually not a bad plan.
No, it's not bad.
I mean, like the idea of the plan,
because they're all there. It makes sense. It's a huge dome, like almost like it covers the city. Basically, it's huge. But they have to go find supplies for this. So they go into like a military bunker and they find like fighter jets from wherever, whenever, like the year 2000, whenever.
Yep.
And they figure out how to fly them.
Because, you know why, Victor? Because a flight simulator was still working. How in the heck is there still power? It's 1,000 years later. You could say it's got a generator that's going to run out.
It's got a generator that wasn't used. Ooh. They keep charges, right? Okay.
Put that aside. But like even there's a point in it where someone turns on a slide projector, and like they're using lights. And not to mention gasoline goes bad. If you don't use gasoline, it turns into like a slushy material. How are they flying these fighter jets?
Oh, they didn't explain it, but they definitely replaced gasoline with something else. And
okay, and so okay, the other thing was this whole plan is Turl. He discovers a ribbon of gold or something.
Sure,
I don't know what it's called when you have like a line of gold in rock.
Yeah,
they find one that hasn't been mined, but it's in a zone where cyclos can't go.
Mhm.
So they can't mine it. And so his big idea is to train man animals to do it. And so he gets Johnny to do it. And because he can't go with them, he has to like trust Johnny to lead the expedition. And so that's when he blackmails him and finds his girlfriend and says, you know, if you don't fill up the ship in 12 days, like half full or something like that,
Yeah.
gold, I'm going to kill your woman.
Mm-hmm.
Johnny's whole thing was, while they're on this expedition, they're going to have guys fake mine the gold because Turl's watching him.
Mm-hmm.
While they're doing that, they go off to that military bunker. They find the fighter jets. They stage their whole revolution during this time. They also have time to go to Fort Knox and raid the vaults and fill up their ship with that.
Yeah, like gold bars, right?
I have so many problems with this.
What? I mean, that's it's perfectly reasonable. You know, you go find a reserve of gold, and that way the guys who are fake mining don't really have to mine. And you come back.
The whole purpose the Cyclos are on Earth is to find gold, and they didn't find Fort Knox.
It's a fort. How do you?
I mean, okay, fine. They didn't find Fort Knox. Johnny knew about it. He figured it out by going to a library, which Turl sent him to, by the way, to be like, hey, learn about your people, because nothing you can do.
To be fair, those Cyclos wiped out the human race in 9 minutes.
I know, that was his whole point. Was like,
Mhm.
oh, there's nothing you can do. So, okay, so he wiped... So he learns about Fort Knox, and he goes there. Just opens the vault.
Mm-hmm. It's Fort Knox.
And it's just unlocked.
Yeah, I mean, after 1,000 years, the locks kind of just, degrade. You open it up, no big deal.
And then anyway, after that, they do that. They load up the ship with all the gold, and he comes over and gives it to Turl, and he's like, there you go. He's like, why is it in bars? He was like, oh, I thought you would like it in bars.
Yeah, and Turl just accepts it like a fucking jackass.
Because he's an idiot. That's the other thing. They break into his security cabinet by guessing his password.
And it's what, his ID number backwards?
Yes, because he's an idiot. And like that's the whole thing. It's Forrest Whitaker plays his second in command the entire time, and Turl is just like ripping him to shreds the entire movie, being like, "You're so dumb." To be fair, he is dumb.
Mm-hmm.
He's also he's like dumb, but he's kind of wise.
Yeah.
He's the only one being like, won't the man animals betray you? And he's like, no, they're idiots. While you are learning to spell your name. What an idiot. That's the thing that really bothers me about this movie. It's not that he's the villain and we spend most of the time with him because he's the star of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's that he's so frustratingly dumb. He's not a good villain whatsoever. Like, none of this would have happened if he was smart.
But that's why this movie's so good,
Like,
because
Mr. Magoo cartoon.
Because it makes us hate the villain, and we want the hero to win. It's written so well.
Oh, and Johnny. Did you care about Johnny?
Who?
He sucked too.
Everyone in this movie was great, Josh.
All right.
Every one of them. I can't think of a single negative thing to say about any of them. You know what? If anything, I wish we saw more of Johnny.
I did too, but maybe with a better actor. Sorry, Barry Pepper, but you suck.
Should we touch on the topic of how Johnny was able to figure out how to get a nuke to work?
Let's do it.
Yeah, so part of the plan in that revolution was to get a nuke. They have a teleportation pad somewhere in that dome where they bring in literally anything from the Cyclo's homeworld. So the plan is to bring the nuke there, bring it back, and nuke the Cyclo's homeworld.
Yes, because the atmosphere reacts like much more sensitively
Mm-hmm.
to nuclear fire.
According to Johnny, yes.
What is it? Pure oxygen?
Yeah.
Super flammable.
Mm-hmm. I don't remember what my point was, but they got a nuke. They got a nuke to work.
Yeah.
It's good writing, considering these guys were just figuring out how to use a gun. I mean, I guess if they figured out how to, run the flight simulator, just nuke's the next step.
That's the other thing. In 9 minutes, nobody shot off a nuke at the Cyclones?
That means it's a very short period, though. Like a minute to process, you know?
One nuke off, at least. The amount of nukes that are on this planet, and even the amount that was on in the year 2000.
To be fair, nukes are a pretty like bold move. You wouldn't really open with that.
That is true. I saw Independence Day as well. They waited. It's been 1,000 years. They had 1,000 years and they didn't find Fort Knox, Victor.
That place is hella secure, man. You know, all that overgrowth too. Or maybe they don't like that. Maybe they find more pleasure out of mining it, you know? I can't believe they freaking learned how to fly fighter jets. In the point where like they were able to like just hover inside a broken down building
in like a day. And then they go into dogfighting. You know how hard it is to learn how to fly?
Hey, man animals.
The Foo Fighters did it, I know. But I mean,
what?
You know that song, Learn to Fly?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's...
Boy, that joke really...
flew over my head?
Yeah.
Seriously, though, this movie, it ruined my week. It was so good. It ruined my week.
Oh, man. That was the thing, too, is we couldn't record this week on our usual time. So I'd watch the movie beforehand, ready for the record. And then I had to sit and think about it for 3 extra days. Freaking Battlefield Earth. If you are the type of person who enjoys watching bad movies, if you're the weird kind of sycophant who likes torturing yourself, this is the perfect movie for you. Oh.
You know,
this movie
I take that back.
Sucked, Victor. I'm not even like pretending to hate it. It sucked.
Yes, it did. Yeah, it was very upsetting.
You know what? Now that we've ditched the pretense of loving and hating it, I did like that the Cyclos, like their greatest downfall was the bureaucracy of their corporation. Like just...
Yeah, that was rough. I can't believe this is only like half. What's the other half of the story?
I kind of want to look it up. I was thinking that like while you were explaining things about like them blowing up the Cyclo planet.
Oh yeah. So yeah, they I don't know whether we explained it, but like they brought the nuke over, they detonate the nuke. The one nuke blew up the entire planet.
So yeah, where do you go from there? It ends with Johnny tricks Turl into blowing off his own arm.
Oh yeah.
And Forrest Whitaker's character, Curl?
There's no way that's his name. Turl and Curl.
It was very close to Turl, but with a C. Anyway, he double crosses Turl, because why wouldn't you? Turl's an idiot. And so it ends where they leave Turl in a cage in Fort Knox so that he is surrounded by gold the entire time but can't touch it. Which is kind of like funny that they did that, but at the same time, it's like Fort Knox is nowhere near where you're established. Like you're going to have to like hike out there to give them food.
Oh no, it is Kerr.
It is Kerr?
It's Kerr.
Oh, it's Kerr, not Curl.
Yeah.
Okay, Victor, you got it on your phone? What happens in the second half of the book?
Unsure of whether the bomb sent to Cyclo. This is off Wikipedia.
Okay.
Unsure of the bomb sent to Cyclo detonated, Johnny opposes a longtime rival, Brown Limper Staffer. I guess that's the name. Seeking to wrest control of Earth for himself, unwittingly used by Turl to advance his own plans, Brown Limper nearly succeeds after gaining assistance from a group. Oh, it just keeps going. I don't want to read this.
I'm kind of curious where it went. All right. So
I scrolled for a long time.
That's fair.
There's a lot.
Okay. Well, this movie sucked. This movie was recommended by one of our listeners. Just want to say, screw you. And but it is that easy. You can recommend a movie or a show or something, and we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
So feel free to leave us a comment or whatever.
Although on the upside, I don't think there's a worse movie out there than Battlefield Earth. The bar is very low here. It's very low.
It's just kind of all around bad. The acting is a little hammy. It's John Travolta, but he's kind of off the leash a little bit. And like it's just shot kind of ugly. Barry Pepper's kind of miscast. Like he's I've seen him in other movies. Like
I recognize him.
In Saving Private Ryan, he was great.
Oh, yeah.
But like I don't know. I think it's just kind of the direction. Like the casting was kind of off, and like it looks low budget, but trying to be big budget, and like.
Also, I think this is like a passion project for Travolta as well.
Yeah, I read that he was trying to get it made for so long. Like he was trying to get it made so he could play Johnny, and he aged out of the part. That's how long he was trying to get it made.
This is like the opposite of like Deadpool.
Yeah. Well, he's a big time Scientologist, so I get it, I guess. And I will say, I like the premise of the movie of like the primitive humans learning how to outwit like the
technologically superior
race. Yeah. But yeah, it's just kind of dumb the way they do it. And there's way too much Turtle in it. And he's just so dumb.
It'd be nice if we knew less about
He would be
SI
more
clothes.
terrifying, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't care that he got passed over for his job.
Yeah.
Like,
that makes them seem so petty.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's rough. It's hard to watch.
Yeah, if you need a downer in your week, watch this movie.
Yeah, that's definitely a low point in my vacation. Oh, you have anything else to say about this movie, Victor?
Well, thanks for listening, guys. It's been another episode, The Average Uninformed. And if you have a movie you want us to check out and review, leave it in the comments or contact us directly at averageuninformed@gmail.com. Anyways, bye.
Bye.